discussing the different functions of money. The first function that we will be discussing is the medium exchange. So money acts as a medium exchange, which basically means that money can be used as a medium exchange. I mean, that is the definition. But I'm going to give an example to explain this properly. So let's say there are two different people and they have two different goods. One person has maybe a box, the other person has a ball. And so they want to exchange these goods and services. And so one way is that this guy can give the other guy the box, and then this guy can give the other guy the ball. That's like one way to go about this. But in that case, we might assume that the value of both the box or the ball in this case will be the same, which might not be the case. So let's say the box is extremely valuable as compared to the ball, which is not valuable at all. Then how do we exchange it? Like, do we cut the box in half? That would obviously decrease the value of the box. Just like if you cut a car in half, doesn't really make sense because that isn't that makes the car not. I mean, it makes it into a thing which cannot be used at all, right? And so same goes for the box. Right, so in this case money comes in. So what we can do is, if let's say money comes in, so this guy the person number one, this guy can pay the other guy for the ball, and this guy, person number two, can pay the first guy for the box. And so in this case they don't really use their own goods and services to exchange goods and services, rather they use money as a medium exchange. Right, this is basically a kind of way, a route to exchange goods and services. So this is being used as a medium. The second function of money is a unit of account. So let's say if we take the same example and we have these two guys here, person 1 and person 2. And so if they're exchanging again a box and a ball, so this guy has a ball, this guy has a box. And if they want to exchange, or maybe let's just keep it the same so that it is easier to compare. So this guy has a box and this guy has a ball. Right, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to exchange these goods and services. So as I said, we don't really know if the box is more valuable, or maybe the ball is more valuable, or maybe none of them are valuable enough. Then how do we determine this? So there is no such, I mean, there used to be no way to do that, but now there is, because we can say that, okay, let's say if this box costs around $30, this ball costs around maybe $2, then we can use money as an economic yardstick, right? Basically a measuring tape to measure the relative values of different goods and services. So 30 is the value of this, or the price of this box, and 2, let me just draw this properly. So 2 is the price of this ball here, right? And so we can say that this box is probably more valuable as compared to this ball here, because the price of this box is higher as compared to the ball itself. And so in this way, what we can do is we can assign relative values, which allows us to use terms such as this is more expensive, right? How, like, what do we define expensive as? How do we define expensive? So expensive maybe would mean that it is relatively expensive as compared to the ball, and this ball is cheaper, or it's cheap. But like, what does cheap even mean, or inexpensive? So that basically means that this ball is cheap or inexpensive as compared to this box here. And how do we end up with this sort of scenario? It's all because of the price, which is obviously which only exists due to money. And in this way, money allows governments to measure national income, enables firms to calculate profits and losses, etc. Because we have some value attached to money. We have the third one, which is the store value. So let's just go to different forms of wealth. So maybe we could store our wealth in the form of money, right? So we could store our wealth in the form of money. That's one way. Maybe we could store our wealth in the form of bonds and stocks. So that's another way. Or maybe we could store our wealth in terms of physical assets such as property or gold. So let's say property, or maybe gold bars, right? Stocks, shares. And so these are different ways in which we can store our wealth. Um, In this case, money also acts as a store of value, so we can store our wealth in terms of money or cash, right? So as we do in terms of banks, so we deposit our money into banks, and the banks, well, they just store our cash or money, and that's why we are able to take money out and then spend it again, because money has a store of value, right? Because even though money is, let's say, inside the bank, that does not mean that money cannot be used again. We can take out money from the bank and then use it again, and so money plays a function of a store value because it does not lose its value while it's stored. But then again, there's inflation, so that's one thing which really affects this function of money, inflation. But we'll go over this later on, because obviously inflation decreases the actual value of money, and so when that happens it will affect this function of money as a store of value, because as I said, that money can be used even though it was stored previously. You can take this money out and we can still use it, and it retains its value, but in some cases due to inflation it might not. Then the fourth case is a means of deferred payment. So we can use money as a means of deferred payment as well. Let's say in the case of workers, right? So workers work, and they don't really ask for any payments initially, and they get paid at the end of the month. So after 1 month passes by, they get paid. But why do they accept such a payment? I mean, isn't it really uncertain for them that their employer is going to pay them in cash? But the fact that they have confidence in money and the value of money, they know that okay, maybe right now I'm not getting $10, but at the end of the month I get my $10, right? And for them, this does not really have any impact because they accept money as a means of deferred payment. Because money, as I said, does not lose its value, and so we can use money as a means of deferred payment as well. And deferred means payments made later on in time over here. Um, and so yeah, exactly. This is the case in which this is one case at which you can look, and we can, in this case, understand that people are willing to take money at a later period of time because they have confidence in money. This is how a lot of economic functions happen in our economy, and that's pretty much it from this video.